truth. Now, what we have to do is to look at the world impact of that second rise of Europe in the 15th and the 16th century. And when the Europeans wanted to enslave the very people who had befriended them, they needed a rationale, and they got that rationale from the church. The papal bull of 1455, when the Pope said that you're both authorized to reduce to servitude all infidel people. The organization of the slave trade, the attitude that was to go into the slave trade was fashioned right by the church itself. The argument was between Spain and Portugal, the two nations closest to Africa. And one of the main reasons why Spain and Portugal had so much anger for the Africans and so little mercy and sensitivity is that Spain and Portugal had been dominated by the Africans for nearly 800 years. Christopher Columbus, one of my favorite anti-heroes of history, one of the great fakes of all times. One of the great fakes of all times. Christopher Columbus, one of my favorite anti-heroes of history, one of the great fakes of all times. You know, a man in utter fraud who discovered absolutely nothing. But Christopher Columbus said, as man and boy, I sailed up and down the Guinea coast for 23 years. Now, mangling with African sailors, he learned that there was a world out there, and he learned how, from African sailors, how to come to the so-called New World. When he arrived in the New World, he found Africans doing business with the Indians and minted corn. Christopher Columbus knew he discovered absolutely nothing.
On this Columbus Day, more than 35,000 marchers and more than 100 bands and floats helped celebrate Italian pride on Fifth Avenue. News 12's John Goff has more from Manhattan.
I'm Italian, so I'm very proud. It's a beautiful day. I'm proud to be Italian-American, be part of just the culture of the immigrant culture. It's beautiful.
For the past 67 years, the March up Fifth Avenue has been a chance for Italian Americans to celebrate their heritage and contributions to this country.
Italian Americans have done so much for this country and this world.
And the whole world has made a hero out of this fake. And among the Western heroes, I don't know a bigger fake than Christopher Columbus, who welched on his debts and who enslaved the very people who had befriended him, fed his crew, cleaned his ships, showed them how to make hammocks so they can swing in the breeze other than lay on these filthy floors. That it was Christopher Columbus, after the wholesale destruction of the Indians, who suggested the enslavement of the Africans. So he went to Father Bartholomew de las Casas, who went to Rome and made it official. Now, he was on the island of Hispaniola, now Haiti and Santo Domingo. Christopher Columbus's brother became the governor of the island. He reduced the population from 1 million to 60,000 in less than 10 years. Father Bartholomew de las Casas said that when they arrived in the West Indies, there were from 12 to 25 million people. Now, there's some, and they were all practically killed. Now, there's a new book on it, British Slave Trading to Spanish America, and by a Jamaican historian, Colin Palmer, at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. He also written a book on the use of myth as a justification for slavery called Slave to the White God, the rationale that Cortez used to take over Mexico. I'm saying that there's some new information by both black and white historians that puts this whole thing to rest, and we don't have to beg any issues anymore.